Mark, how are Jose's comments about Pogba being received?
I just think he's been overcritical. I guess in some respects what he said is right, but I just think there's been, with Jose, he's too critical at times. I think Pogba's a great player, but I think Pogba needs a bit of love sometimes, a bit of confidence, and I just think that Jose's made it so difficult for Pogba now when he comes back from his World Cup break to assimilate into the squad and prove his manager that he can perform next season. I think Pogba feels now that his manager doesn't believe in him. He's basically said that he's got too many off-field distractions and he needs to focus on just focusing on putting on the football. But the problem is, you know, Pogba's a modern-day player, and I think he's one of these players that United knew what they were getting when they signed him for the commercial side, for the playing side. I just think Mourinho needs to give him more love to make him a better player. And I did a piece earlier on today saying that he should be given the captaincy, because I think if you give Pogba the captaincy, it gives him responsibility and that necessity to perform and to raise his game.
All right, guys, what do you think? Because I know I saw a couple of comments on social media who had decisions, you know, opinions divided on this. Do you think, like Mark said, that Jose is being too critical on someone like Pogba?
Look, at this point, what your opinion is on what Jose Mourinho comes second to how he opened his answer. I've never heard a manager start a sentence or start an answer about a player in saying, it's not our responsibility to get the best out of that player. When has that ever been said by a manager at any level? It is not our responsibility to get the best out of the player. Now, if you say we've given it our all and the player, because of the off-field distractions or whatever it may be, that's one thing. But to start by saying, it's not our responsibility to get the best out of Paul Pogba. It's his responsibility. That is shaking all kinds of responsibility in a way that I never thought I'd hear any manager, let alone a manager of one of the biggest clubs in world football, say. Saying that, as much as Jose Mourinho may not be able to, or for whatever reason, and he's putting this on Paul Pogba, amazingly, both Antonio Conte and Massimo Allegri were able to do exactly that with Pogba in a Juventus shirt. Despite the same ups and downs about playing big games one week and playing smaller games the next week, they got the best out of Paul Pogba. So much so they took Paul Pogba from a free transfer to a 100 million euro player. Again, that's what managers are there for. If it was only the player's responsibility to get the best out of himself, then that job becomes redundant. The manager's job is not needed.
But at this level,
it has to be a two-way street. It has to be a two-way street. The player has a responsibility to give everything for his club, but the coach has a responsibility to try and get the best out of his players. So it has to be a bit of both. I think what you're seeing is, you know, Mark was talking about he needs to give some love, Mourinho, to Pogba. Well, he is. He's giving him tough love. Because there's no way that Mourinho hasn't had this conversation with Pogba. It's clearly he's telling him that it's off-field distractions, and you know, you can say Allegri and Conte got the best out of Juventus, but I think the distractions at United are way above what he probably was doing at Juventus. So it's a clear message: sort yourself off the field, and it'll work its way out in the field.
Well, Mark, then what do you think? Do you think it's just a case of tough love, which really and truly seems to be the Jose Mourinho way? He's not really fluffy bunny rabbits and butterflies, so...
Well, the problem is with Jose, there's a lot of tough love. You know, tough love with Anthony Martial, tough love with Luke Shaw, tough love with Pogba, and I don't really see the benefits. I don't see any player that's coming through and becoming a better player because of this tough love. And I think, you know, Xhaka mentioned that Juventus, that Allegri and Conte got more out of him. Well, in fairness to Mourinho, Conte and Allegri had better players. He had Pirlo, they had Marchisio, and later on they had Khedira. You know, Pogba needs good players around him. With France, he had Kante, he had Griezmann, he had Mbappe. He doesn't have these players at United. He has Fellaini, he has Ashley Young, he has, you know, Juan Mata. They're not in the same calibre as the French players and the Juventus players, but still, I think Pogba's a player that is a confidence player. As great as a player as he can be, he's a confidence player. And Jose is crushing his confidence with the comments he's making. And he's also not helping his confidence by playing him out of position. I remember the Tottenham game last season when they lost 2-0. He played in the holding role alongside Fellaini. Well, you know, he's not a holding midfielder, Paul Pogba. He's not got the defensive discipline. You know, Graham Souness, who Stevie will know fairly well, he keeps saying that he doesn't smell danger, and he doesn't smell danger. But Mourinho's responsibility is to get players in the team who smell danger, to allow Pogba to play his game which is attacking people in the final third, picking a killer pass, scoring a goal, because he's not used him to the best of his ability, and at the same time he's hurting his confidence as well. So I think it is down to Mourinho, going back to what Xhaka said first off, the manager has to take the responsibility to improve the player and make him a better player, because at the end of the day, Mourinho's job is on the line at United, and to succeed, he has to get his best players performing.